Hole 1 at Baker Park is a par 3, 327-foot shot with OB on the left side path. There is a Mando in between these two trees. So trying to get enough distance to get through that Mando and set yourself up for either a pitch up underneath the basket for a par or a long putt, depending on your skill level. This is an easily parable hole, but it can lead to trouble if you try and do too much. Hole 2 is a nice straight hole. It's 211 feet. It's a par 3. It has a slight hill leading up to the basket, so you might look like you're right underneath it, but you end up being about 30 feet short. Just try and carry that first hill and land underneath the basket for an easy birdie. Hole 3 is your very first challenging technical shot, as you have to hit this tight window to get to the basket. It's 283 feet. If you're going to miss, you want to miss the left. Missing into the trees on the right-hand side will set you up for bogey or worse. So miss left if you're going to miss. Hit this small gap, get the birdie. Hole 4 is a 200-foot par 3. It is completely and entirely open, which means you need to concentrate on making sure that you're landing this nice and close to the basket. It's an easy shot, but if you're not paying attention, you could go far left or right or out of bounds deep. Hole 5 is 175 feet. It's a par 3. It does have a mandatory in between these two trees. Now, the one thing that you'll need to make sure is you'll see the bunches of trees on the left. You need to get up and over those if you want to set yourself up for a birdie. Going around it like the drone is doing right now, probably not your best option. So a nice right-hand backhand spike hyzer, probably your best option to leave yourself a 15 to 20 footer and set yourself up for the birdie. Hole 6 has guardian trees everywhere. It's a 213-foot par 3. Don't hit the first available tree. Try and make your way down at least halfway. Sometimes you're going to get lucky, sometimes you're going to get unlucky, but trying to cut off at least 100 feet of distance will set you up for the ability to get a par. Like I said, guardian trees all over the place in this one, so trying to find a line a little bit difficult, but definitely doable for the average player. Hole 7 is a 165-foot hole. You can go left or right on this one around a big clump of trees. There is OB deep. No matter which way you choose, commit to the shot, only 165 feet. Hole 8 is what I like to call a princess in a castle, as the basket is completely surrounded by trees. It is a 187-foot par 3. You really don't need to be perfect on this one. Just try and get it close to the basket to set yourself up for a long putt. If you try and be perfect, do too much, you might end up hitting a tree early and not setting yourself up for the possibility of a birdie. Hole 9 is 318 feet. It's a par 3. There is OB on the path to the right side, so you want to stay left using a hyzer flip or a turnover in order to approach the basket from left to right, avoiding trees all on the other side. There is that guardian log there. However, the log is not a fix, so if your disc is underneath it, feel free to give it a little move. Hole 10 is a 245-foot par 3. It is an easy hyzer shot for most right-hand backhand players. You want to go wide to avoid these bushes on the left-hand side, as they will bring bogey into play. There is a path very wide on the left-hand side. You have to miss pretty badly to go OB there. This should be an easy birdie for most players. Hole 11 is a 264-foot par 3. It is a perfectly straight shot, but do watch out for flying discs coming from hole 10 and hole 12. There's a little bit of firing range in here, so make sure you're paying attention. But this is an easy birdie for you, just nice and straight, land it under the basket and secure the bird. Hole 12, you want to avoid these bushes on the right-hand side as they are out of bounds. The trees on the left are a prison sentence. If you put yourself in those trees, you're putting bogey on the table, even double bogey on the table. Try stay down the middle here. Try and land in the middle of the corridor and have your disc skip over and land near the basket. Hole 13 is your last nice hole. It's 183 feet. It's got a little bit of challenge with the trees, so it takes away some natural lines, but if you got a nice straight shot, you should be able to put it right near the basket. You've also got a backstop of trees, so you keep that shot nice and low, run into those trees. You can go for an ace run or at least get stopped up for a birdie. Hole 14 is an interesting hole as the basket is completely surrounded by guardian bushes, so a par is a good score here. Don't try and do too much. End up in a good position to give yourself a good upshot. Stay away from the trees on the right, so stay a little bit left. Come up and over the bushes. That'll set you up for a nice easy par. Hole 15 is a par 3, 256-foot shot. You need to avoid the bushes on the right and cover the distance. So getting down on the left-hand side is very important. If you go on the right, you will end up in jail. So stay left. If you're not comfortable going straight down the corridor, you need to set yourself up to cover the distance to get to this gap to be able to get in there for a par. Better players use that forehand, get in, set yourself up for birdie. Hole 16 is the most challenging hole on the course. It's 416 feet, par 3. You need to avoid the bushes on the right. It is death in there. Playing for par is going to be the standard for most players who are playing this. You want to stay out to the left, set yourself up a nice 200-foot approach shot into this basket, and then play for par. This is going to be the most challenging hole on the course. 323 feet is hole 17. It's a par 3. You want to stay to the left, staying out of the trees, but play your shot. If you've got a long backhand, long forehand, just shape your shot in order to make sure that you set yourself up for the possibility of a birdie or a par with a nice easy pitch up. Hole 18 is a 140-foot par 3. You do need to make the Mando into the center, into the tunnel. Make that shot entrance. Missing the Mando will cost you a bogey or worse. You want to make sure that you're hitting this hole. Slide the disc in. This is easily birdieable, even though it looks a little intimidating.